The energy is the Seven of Cups. Now, this is one of those multi-layered cards with various meanings that go in different directions. For some of you, perhaps you're feeling under the weather. You're just not yourself. You may have a cold, or maybe you have some kind of respiratory illness. Maybe you have a hangover. Maybe, you've been participating in behavior connected to drugs or alcohol. For others of you, maybe you're dealing with inclement weather where, it's foggy, or I know there have been some parts of the country where they've experienced whiteouts, so that may be the focus. For others of you, maybe you're just lost in your thoughts today. You're doing a lot of daydreaming, fantasizing, wishful thinking. You may not feel like you have a lot of energy, and maybe you're seeking some form of escapism in your own private world with your thoughts. Maybe you're hoping for something, and you're investing a lot of emotion into something that you're dreaming of or something that you desire. Others of you, maybe you're scattering your energy. You're doing a lot. You're being overwhelmed emotionally, physically, because you're scattering your energy in too many different directions. It could be that there's a matter where you just can't focus, or you can't come to a conclusion. There's a sense of confusion, or your thinking is muddled, or matters are unsettled, or there's a difficult choice and you don't know which one to make. And maybe it's because there's been some impracticality in some area. This is a card, perhaps, for some of you that has to do with shopping, and usually a tendency toward luxury goods. So for some of you, you're trying to make choices and having difficulty doing so. There are a lot of options, but which one holds the most value? Some of you, maybe your dreams are important, or your vision, what you hope to accomplish. Maybe you're a creative person, an artist, or a musician, or a filmmaker. So this could be a prolific day of getting a lot of ideas, downloads from source. Maybe you're even psychic and you're getting some impressions. So it's a day where emotions can dominate rational thought, or you have some erroneous perceptions about things. Something is questionable. And this is a day where you're about to discover that perhaps you may be off the mark in some way. Either you over or underestimated a person or a situation, for better or for worse. So something is causing you to, again, reconsider that position. And we talked about that yesterday, holding fast to a particular stance, and that's causing you some discomfort. Now you're having to go back and rethink something, reevaluate it, look at it more closely. And if you're not careful with how you direct energy today, something could go awry that upsets the entire agenda. It puts things up in the air and you don't know what's going to happen next. This could be for better or for worse. So it's a day of prioritizing what really holds the most value. What's the priority in your relationship, in your endeavors, in your life? So you may have to rearrange some things according to that structure. What is the most important thing? Whatever it is, whatever conclusion you come to, that's what you should be applying your energy to, directing your effort toward. And if so, you may be pleasantly surprised that you get a lot done. And remember, the overarching influence of the King of Wands gives you the mastery and the energy to accomplish more in less time. So for some of you, there's going to be a turnaround today. You're going to be able to transform something that appeared like it was a losing matter into a winning proposition. But for others of you, you may be struggling to see things clearly. You're having to try to get real where perhaps you were more idealistic before. You have to make some realistic plans, set some priorities, become decisive, and make some good choices because it's time for action. It may even mean that you have to try something again, go back to the basics. Otherwise, you may be losing an opportunity. Some of you may even be disillusioned with the situation. Maybe there's been a false promise made, or there's a fear of actually attaining success. So if that's the case, you may have to make an apology or make an excuse, or maybe you have to stand in for someone who is doing that at home, at work, or both. You're having to pick up the slack because there's just been a disappearance. Poof, someone's gone or something is unclear. And you have to be careful of creating illusions, making things appear the way you wish they were rather than what they are. Telling people you're fine, this is okay, this is great, rather than telling the truth. Maybe you've created one picture and this is nowhere near the reality of a situation, or you're dealing with someone like that. So the longer you are in denial and putting off things that you don't want to confront, things you don't want to deal with, it's going to be hard for you to actually focus on things you do enjoy, or get focused on what you need to take care of. So the circumstances can cause you to feel, again, like you're coming up short. You got there a little bit too late, or you didn't have quite enough for the finish line. And it's likely to be because you spread yourself too thinly, too many irons in the fire, when the better approach would have been to handle matters more realistically, looking at what you could actually accomplish and following that through from beginning to end rather than this, that, and the other.